A single mother, a worn-out uniform, and a restaurant full of secrets. Bella Rossi was just trying to survive another double shift, her mind on her sick brother and the mountain of bills. But when a cruel manager decided to humiliate a nervous, stuttering young woman, Bella had to make a choice, her job or her conscience. She chose her conscience. What she didn't know was that the quiet man in the corner, the one everyone ignored, was the girl's billionaire father. And he was watching everything. What he did next didn't just change her life, it brought an entire restaurant to its knees. The clock on the kitchen wall was Bella Rossi's personal tormentor. Its red digital numbers, 5:17 p.m., seemed to mock her. She'd been on her feet for 7 hours, and the dinner rush hadn't even technically begun. Yet, the Serafina, a restaurant that sold itself on affordable luxury, was already buzzing with the clatter of plates and the low, self-important roar of its clientele. Bella adjusted the stiff black apron over her hips. It was her third double this week. Her feet throbbed, a dull, persistent ache that had become as familiar as her own name. But the physical pain was nothing, a background noise compared to the crushing weight in her chest. Marco. She mentally checked her phone, though she knew she couldn't. Mr. Harrison, the restaurant's manager, had a strict "no phones on the floor" policy, enforced with the glee of a petty tyrant. Marco, her 16-year-old brother, was at home, probably glued to his laptop, but his new medication protocol for his cystic fibrosis was expensive. Experimental and astronomical were the words the doctors used. To Bella, they just meant impossible. So she plastered on what she called her Serafina smile, bright, non-threatening, and utterly fake. "Table 7 needs a recook, Rossi," barked a voice. Bella didn't even turn. "What's wrong with it?" "Man says the steak is medium, not medium rare. Looks plenty red to me, but he's one of those." Bella sighed, grabbing the heavy plate. On it. Her section was a minefield. Table 4, a first date, the man clearly trying too hard. Table 6, a family of 4, the kids systematically turning sugar packets into a sticky, abstract art installation. And Table 9, her least favorite, Mr. Slade. Mr. Slade was a local real estate developer with a booming voice and hands that accidentally brushed against the waists of the waitstaff. He was loud, demanding, and most importantly, a friend of the owner. This made him, in Mr. Harrison's eyes, royalty. "Isabella, my favorite girl," Slade boomed as she passed, his voice oily. "Bella, sir. Just Bella," she corrected him, her smile tight. "Whatever. More bread, sweetheart. And this wine? It's passable, but barely. Tell Harrison I need to see the reserve list, not this children's menu." "Right away, Mr. Slade." She hurried to the back, passing Mr. Harrison himself. Daniel Harrison was a man who seemed assembled from a kit of bad manager parts. His hair was slicked back with too much gel, his suit was a size too small, and his cologne arrived in the room 5 seconds before he did. He was currently bent at the waist, grinning at Mr. Slade's table. "Mr. Slade, a pleasure as always. Is everything to your satisfaction?" Harrison asked, his voice dripping with sycophancy. "Your wine list is garbage, Harrison. But this one," Slade slapped Bella's shoulder as she dropped off the bread. "She's taking good care of me." Bella flinched, but years of practice kept her face neutral. Harrison shot her a look, not of concern, but of warning. "Keep him happy." "Only the best for you, sir," Harrison chuckled. Bella escaped to the kitchen, her skin crawling. She leaned her forehead against the cool steel of the pass-through. "You okay, Bells?" Chef Rico asked, not looking up from plating a salmon. "Peachy, Harrison's out there tap dancing for Slade." "That slug," Rico muttered. "Don't let him get to you. You're too good for this place, chica." "Good doesn't pay for Marco's meds," Bella said, the words sharp. "Table 7 recook." "Coming up." She grabbed a tray with 4 waters and headed back out, bracing herself. The restaurant was her stage, and she was an actress playing the part of a cheerful, subservient woman. But the script was getting harder to read, and the weight of her costume, the apron, the smile, the debt, was becoming unbearable. She moved through the dining room, a ghost in a black uniform. She refilled waters, took orders, and dodged Slade's attempts to get her attention. All the while, her mind was a frantic calculator. This check, plus tips. Maybe another $80. That's 1 day of the new prescription. Just 1 day. As she passed the host stand, she overheard Harrison hiss at the young hostess, a new girl named Chloe. "What do you mean you don't have a reservation for Rhodes? Look again." "I'm sorry, Mr. Harrison. There's nothing under that name. Or Rhodes Industries. Or anything similar," Chloe whispered, her eyes wide with fear. "Incompetent," Harrison snapped. "The man is one of the most powerful people in the city. If he shows up, you seat him. I don't care if you have to pull a table out of my office. Now go polish the silverware. You're useless up here." Chloe scurried away, tears in her eyes. Bella felt a familiar, bitter taste in her mouth. Harrison loved to punch down. He was a small man who could only feel tall by making others feel small. Bella took a deep breath, recentered her tray, and stepped back into the chaos. The night was young, and she could already tell it was going to be a long one. She just had to get through it. For Marco. She had to. The evening aged like spoiled milk. The dinner rush hit like a tidal wave, a cacophony of demanding voices and clanging silverware. Bella moved on autopilot, her body a well-oiled machine of customer service, while her mind was miles away, in a small apartment, with her brother. At 7:03 p.m., the front door opened, letting in a gust of cool November air. A man stood there, hesitating. He was unremarkable, and in a place like the Serafina, unremarkable was an insult. He wore simple, dark trousers, worn loafers, and a grey cashmere sweater that, while expensive, was slightly pilled at the cuffs. His dark hair was peppered with grey, and his face was lined with a tiredness that Bella recognized. He looked less like a diner and more like a university professor who had lost his way. Chloe, back at the host stand and still rattled, looked at him. "Can I help you, sir?" "A table for 1, please. Just somewhere quiet," the man said. His voice was soft. Chloe glanced at Harrison, who was hovering near Mr. Slade's table, laughing too loudly at a bad joke. Harrison caught her eye, looked the man up and down, and gave a dismissive flick of his hand. "Not important." All our tables are reserved, sir," Chloe began. "But we have a seat at the bar?" "I'd really prefer a table, even a small one. In a corner would be fine," the man said politely. Harrison finally strode over, his smile gone. "Sir, as the hostess said, we are fully committed tonight. The bar is available. Otherwise—" He let the sentence hang, implying the otherwise meant the street. The man's eyes, a piercing shade of blue, held Harrison's for a moment. There was no anger in them, just observation. It seemed to make Harrison uncomfortable. "Fine," Harrison snapped. "Table 12. Chloe winced. Table 12 was universally loathed. It was tiny, wedged between the kitchen's swinging door and the server's station, guaranteeing a night of noise, traffic, and spilled drink spray. "Thank you," the man said, still polite. He followed Chloe, took the bad table without complaint, and picked up the menu. Bella, rushing past with a tray of empty glasses, was assigned the table. "I'll be right with you, sir," she said, giving him a quick, genuine smile. He was in the way, but it wasn't his fault. "Take your time," he said. When she returned, he was just watching the room. Not in a creepy way, but with an analyst's focus. "Can I get you started with something to drink? A cocktail? Wine?" "Just a black coffee, please, and a bowl of your potato leek soup. I'm not very hungry." "You got it." Bella put in the simple order. "Weirdo at table 12, she muttered to Rico. "Worst table in the house, and he just orders coffee and soup at 7 p.m. on a Friday." "Takes all kinds," Rico shrugged. "Maybe he's just cold." Bella brought him the coffee. He thanked her, his eyes warm. "You look busy," he noted. "Always," she said with a small laugh. "It's the job." She was about to walk away when he said, "You're very efficient. You haven't stopped moving, but you're not panicked. That's a rare skill." Bella paused. It was the first time a customer had noticed her, not just the service. "Thanks. My brother, well, I'm used to multitasking." She had no idea why she'd said that. She hurried away, slightly flustered. 10 minutes later, at 7:22 p.m., the door opened again. This time it was a young woman, probably 18 or 19. She was dressed in jeans and an oversized university sweatshirt, her hair pulled back in a messy bun. She clutched the strap of her messenger bag like a lifeline, and her eyes darted around the restaurant, wide and nervous. She approached the host stand. Chloe, now juggling 3 reservation tablets, gave her a frazzled look. "Hi, can I? I'm meeting," the girl stuttered, her face flushing crimson. "I'm meeting my father." "Okay, what's the name?" The girl's anxiety seemed to spike. The noise, the people, the pressure. It was all too much. Rhodes, I think he's here." Harrison, overhearing the name, spun around. "Rhodes? The Rhodes? You?" He looked her up and down, the messy bun, the cheap sweatshirt, the stutter. His face twisted in disbelief and then contempt. Yes, she whispered, shrinking. "Don't lie to me, girl. I'm expecting Mr. Rhodes and you are not with him. Are you homeless? Are you looking for a handout?" Harrison's voice was low and menacing. "No, I'm Lily. He's my dad. He told me to meet him here." "I see," Harrison said, his mind clearly made up. This was some troubled girl trying to pull a fast one. "Well, Lily, we don't allow soliciting. Why don't you wait outside? Please, I just..." Tears welled in her eyes. From her station, Bella watched, her stomach tightening. She recognized that look, the darting eyes, the stammer, the trembling hands. It wasn't guilt. It was a panic attack. She'd seen it 1,000 times with Marco when he was overwhelmed. The man at table 12, Alistair, had also seen. His coffee cup was halfway to his lips, and he was frozen, his gaze locked on the girl and the manager. His face was a mask of stone. "Mr. Harrison," Bella said, stepping forward before she could stop herself. "It's fine, I can take her. Table 12 just ordered soup. The other half of that two-top is free. She can sit there. It's my section. I'll handle it." Harrison shot her a look of pure venom. "Fine. But she's your problem, Rossi. One complaint, one wrong move, and she's out. And you're on thin ice." Yes, sir." Bella turned to the girl, her voice softening instantly. "Hi, I'm Bella. You're Lily, right? Your dad is in my section. Come on, let's get you seated." She didn't know if the girl's father was actually the man at table 12, but she knew she had to get this girl away from Harrison. Thank you," Lily whispered, her body trembling. Bella led her to table 12. The man looked up, his blue eyes moving from Bella to the terrified girl. "Sir," Bella said quietly, "I apologize. The manager was..." mistaken. This is Lily. She's waiting for her father. Would you mind terribly if she sat here for a moment, just to get out of the entryway?" The man's expression was unreadable. He simply looked at Lily, and a small, almost imperceptible softness entered his eyes. "Of course," he said, his voice just as quiet. "Please, sit down, Lily." Lily, looking confused but grateful, slid into the other chair. I'm sorry," she whispered to him. "Nothing to be sorry for," the man said. Bella let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. She had just seated a nervous, stuttering girl with a random customer who was drinking coffee. Harrison was going to kill her, but as she looked at the two of them, the quiet, tired man and the trembling, anxious girl, she felt a strange, protective calm. She had done the right thing. The next 45 minutes were a masterclass in tension. Bella tried to keep her focus on her other tables, but her attention was magnetically pulled to table 12. The man, Alistair, had introduced himself as such. "I'm Alistair," he'd said to Lily, "and I'm Lily," she'd replied. They sat in a strange, polite silence. Alistair sipped his coffee. Lily stared at her hands, which she had clasped tightly on the table. Bella, in a moment of sheer impulse, brought her a glass of water and a small plate of the bread she'd just given Mr. Slade. "Here," she said softly, setting it down. "Just in case." Thank you," Lily whispered, not looking up. "You're okay," Bella murmured, a phrase she used on Marco. "Just breathe. You're safe here." She caught Alistair's eye. He gave her a small, brief nod. It wasn't just approval. It felt like gratitude. Meanwhile, Mr. Harrison was fuming. He stalked the perimeter of the dining room, his gaze repeatedly snagging on table 12. He saw a non-spending customer, Alistair, and a non-paying vagrant, Lily, occupying a table, even a bad one, during his Friday night rush. It was an affront to his sense of order. He was also busy sucking up to Mr. Slade. "More wine, Mr. Slade. On the house, of course. For you, anything." "Attaboy, Harrison," Slade slurred, clearly enjoying the power. At table 12, Lily's anxiety was radiating in waves. She was trying to text someone on her phone, but her hands were shaking so badly she could barely type. She kept looking at the door, then at Alistair, then at the floor. "Are you waiting for someone?" Alistair finally asked, his voice gentle. Lily jumped, startled. Yes. My dad. He said he'd be here. This is a busy place. I'm sure he's just running late," Alistair said. He's always late," Lily said, a flicker of a smile so fast Bella almost missed it. "Well, work can be demanding," Alistair agreed. Bella, from her station, felt a growing sense of dread. Harrison was on the move. He'd been glaring at the table for 5 minutes straight. He was a predator, and he'd found his prey. He was just waiting for a reason to pounce. Lily gave him that reason. Her hands, still trembling, reached for the glass of water Bella had given her. Maybe she was trying to take a sip to calm her nerves. Maybe she was just fidgeting. But her shaking fingers hit the base of the glass, and in a horrible, slow-motion catastrophe, the glass toppled. It wasn't a small spill. The water and ice cubes cascaded across the tiny table, flooding onto the floor and splashing onto Lily's own lap. "Oh, no, I'm so sorry." Lily leapt to her feet, knocking her chair over with a loud clack on the tile floor. The entire restaurant, which had been a dull roar, went instantly, terribly silent. Every eye turned. Mr. Slade, the first date, the family with the kids, and Mr. Harrison. His face, which had been simmering with irritation, now lit up with a triumphant, cruel smile. This was it. This was the excuse he needed. "That's it!" Harrison's voice boomed across the silent room. Alistair at table 12 had already stood, pulling napkins from the dispenser and handing them to Lily. "It's just water. It's all right," he was saying quietly. "Sir," Harrison said, marching toward them, "please step aside. I am handling this." "There's nothing to handle," Alistair said, his voice flat. "It was an accident." "An accident?" Harrison let out a disbelieving theatrical laugh. "This person has been a disturbance since she walked in. First, she lies about meeting a Mr. Rhodes, then she stumbles around, and now she's causing a scene, destroying property and disturbing my real customers." He gestured to Mr. Slade, who nodded in agreement. "Get her out of here, Harrison. She's killing the vibe." No, I didn't mean..." Lily was crying now, her words completely lost to the stutter, her hands flapping at her sides. She was in a full-blown panic attack. "Oh, cry me a river," Harrison sneered. "I've had enough. You are to leave my restaurant. Now." He reached out and grabbed Lily's arm. It wasn't a gentle touch. It was a vicious, angry grab, his fingers digging into her bicep. Lily shrieked, a sound of pure terror. And that's when Bella moved. Bella didn't think. She reacted. The sound of Lily's shriek, the sight of Harrison's fingers on her arm, it was like a switch flipped. All the exhaustion, all the fear for Marco, all the quiet humiliations of the night coalesced into a single point of pure, cold rage. "Get your hand off her." Bella's voice wasn't loud. It was low, steady, and sharp as a razor. It cut through the silence even more effectively than Harrison's shouting. Harrison, who was trying to drag Lily toward the door, froze. He turned, his face a mask of purple fury and disbelief. "What did you say to me, Rossi?" "I said," Bella repeated, walking calmly until she was standing directly between Harrison and Lily. "Get your hand off her now." She didn't look at Harrison. Her eyes were on Lily. She saw the hyperventilation, the wide, unseeing eyes, the way she was curling in on herself. This was the danger zone, the place Marco went before he couldn't breathe. "You are fired!" Harrison shrieked, finally letting go of Lily's arm to jab a finger at Bella. "You are so fired, you won't be able to get a job washing dishes in a sewer." "Fine," Bella said, her voice still impossibly calm. She gently took Lily's shoulders. Lily flinched, but Bella's touch was firm and safe. Lily, look at me. Not at him. Look at me." She waited until Lily's terrified eyes met hers. "You're okay. My name is Bella. You are in a restaurant. You are safe. I need you to breathe with me. Can you do that? Breathe in." Bella took an exaggerated breath. "And out." "B-b-b-b," Lily gasped. "I know, it's hard. Let's try something else. Name 5 things you can see. Right now, just for me." My hand," Lily managed. "Good, that's 1. What else?" Your apron. "That's 2. Keep going, you're doing great." "This is ridiculous," Harrison bellowed. "I am the manager, and I am telling you, both of you, to get out. Security." He snapped his fingers, but the restaurant's lone, aging security guard, Frank, was still by the front door, looking deeply uncomfortable. "Bella," Alistair said quietly from behind her. Bella had almost forgotten he was there. His voice was calm, but there was a new, hard edge to it. "Bella, that's my name. This is a mess." "It's more than that," Alistair said. He stepped forward, placing himself slightly to Bella's side, a silent, supportive presence. He was no longer a tired professor. He was something else. He was watching Harrison with an expression of intense, clinical disdain. "You," Harrison sputtered, now completely unhinged. He was pointing at Alistair. You're in on this, aren't you? What is this, a scam? You two con artists, you come in here—" "Sir," Bella cut him off, her patience snapping. "Stop talking." "How dare you? No, how dare you?" Bella said, and now her voice was loud. It was the voice of a woman who had nothing left to lose. "This young woman," she gestured to Lily, who was now breathing slightly more slowly, "is a customer. She came in here, she was nervous, and she accidentally spilled a glass of water. A glass I gave her. And for that, you decided to physically assault her." "Assault? I did not! You grabbed her. You humiliated her. You accused her of being a liar, a vagrant, and a drunk. Look at her. She's not drunk, you ignorant bully. She's having a panic attack. Something you would know if you had a single shred of humanity or competence in you." The restaurant was tomb silent. Mr. Slade's jaw was hanging open. The first date table was staring, forks halfway to their mouths. You think you can talk to me like that?" Harrison whispered, his voice shaking with rage. "You, a dime a dozen waitress. You're a nobody, Rossi, and you just threw your life away. You're done. Get your things. Get out." "I'm not going anywhere," Bella said, her chin high. She was terrified. Her knees were shaking. She could already feel the eviction notice, see the look on Marco's face, but she wouldn't back down. "I'm not leaving until I know she is safe from you." "She'll be safe," Harrison sneered. "She'll be on the sidewalk." He reached for Lily again. "Don't touch her." This time the voice wasn't Bella's. It was Alistair's. He hadn't raised his voice. He didn't need to. The command was absolute. He had moved with surprising speed, and his hand was now on Harrison's wrist, not grabbing, but just holding. Harrison tried to pull away and couldn't. The quiet man's grip was like a steel trap. "Let go of me," Harrison hissed, his eyes wide with a new, dawning fear. He was realizing he had miscalculated. "I believe," Alistair said, his voice terrifyingly mild, "that you were the one who asked for security." He nodded toward the door. "Frank, I think it's time." Frank, the security guard, lumbered over. "Mr. Harrison, everything. Okay." "This man assaulted me," Harrison yelled, gesturing to Alistair. "Arrest him." Alistair released Harrison's wrist. He calmly brushed a piece of lint from his sweater. "My apologies, Frank," Alistair said, and the fact that he knew the guard's name made Frank pause. "There seems to be a misunderstanding. Mr. Harrison is under the impression that he is in charge." Harrison stared. Bella stared. "What?" Harrison said. Alistair turned his full attention to the manager. The tired academic veneer was gone. What was left was cold, hard, and utterly dominant. It was like watching a shark shed its camouflage. "Lily," Alistair said, his voice softening for just a second as he looked at the girl. "Are you all right, sweetheart?" Lily, her tears slowing, just stared at him. Her breathing was still ragged, but the panic was receding, replaced by total, blank confusion. And then she whispered the word that changed everything. "Dad?" The word hung in the air, electric and impossible. "Dad!" Bella's blood went cold. She looked at Lily. Then she looked at the quiet man, Alistair. She saw for the first time what she had been blind to. They had the same eyes, the exact same shade of piercing, intelligent blue. Mr. Harrison's face went through a rapid, horrifying series of expressions. First, confusion. Then, disbelief. Then, a dawning, sickening comprehension that drained every last drop of blood from his face, leaving it a pasty, greenish white. He looked like a man who had just seen his own ghost. "Dad?" Harrison stammered, mimicking Lily, his voice a pathetic squeak. What? No. You're—" Alistair ignored him. His full attention was on his daughter. He stepped past Bella and pulled Lily into a gentle hug. "I'm so sorry I was late, sweetheart. The meeting on the coast ran long, and the traffic was, well, you know. You said—" Lily mumbled into his pilled sweater. "I know what I said. I was going to change, but I was so late, I just came straight here. I didn't think—" He trailed off, his gaze sweeping the room, finally landing back on Harrison. His expression hardened. "I didn't think it would be a problem." Bella's mind was racing, trying to put the pieces together. The name. Chloe at the host stand. "I don't have a reservation for Rhodes." Harrison had been expecting a VIP named Rhodes. He had seen a girl in a sweatshirt and a man in an old sweater, and he had dismissed them both. He hadn't been expecting Alistair Rhodes, the Alistair Rhodes, the reclusive, media-shy, multi-billionaire CEO of Rhodes Industries. A man who owned half the city, including, Bella was suddenly, horribly aware, the entire restaurant conglomerate that owned the Serafina. Alistair Rhodes had been sitting at the worst table in the house, drinking a $4 coffee and a bowl of soup, for almost an hour. And his daughter, who clearly struggled with a severe anxiety disorder and a stutter, was the girl Harrison had just assaulted and tried to throw into the street. "Oh my God," Bella whispered, and she wasn't sure if she'd said it aloud. Harrison, meanwhile, was imploding. He was bowing, scraping, and wringing his hands, all at the same time. "Mr. Rhodes, sir. Mr. Rhodes, I had no idea. This is a terrible misunderstanding. A test, perhaps. Yes. A service test." He laughed, a high-pitched, hysterical sound. "And your daughter, what a wonderful actress. She had me completely fooled." Lily shrank back, and Alistair's arm tightened around her. "A test, Mr. Harrison." Alistair's voice was arctic. "You believe my daughter's panic disorder is street theatre? You believe my test involves you putting your hands on her? No, sir. Please, I was concerned for her. I thought she was unwell, intoxicated. I was just trying to help her, outside, for some fresh air. You called her a liar. You called her a vagrant. And I believe your exact words," Alistair said, tapping his temple, "were that she was disgusting and killing the vibe. I believe I'm quoting Mr. Slade on that last one." At the mention of his name, Mr. Slade, who had been trying to blend into the wallpaper, winced. Alistair's gaze flicked to him. "Mr. Slade, so good to see you. My team at Rhodes Industries has been trying to get a meeting with you for weeks. Something about—" "Oh, yes. The building permits for the new high-rise. The ones my auditors suspect were creatively filed." Slade turned the color of raw dough. I don't know what you're talking about." "You will," Alistair said dismissively, before turning back to Harrison. The cat was done playing with the mice. "Mr. Harrison," Alistair said, "I am not a man who enjoys scenes. I came here tonight for a quiet meal with my daughter, Lily, who, as you've so cruelly pointed out, struggles with social anxiety. I came to your restaurant, a new acquisition for my hospitality division, to see it from the ground up." He gestured to his pilled sweater. "This is how I always do it. I sit, I watch, I listen." His eyes found Bella's. "I see who gets ignored. I see who is treated with kindness, even when there's no perceived reward. And I see who is cruel just because they have a little bit of power." He turned back to Harrison. "You, sir, are the most profound failure of management I have ever witnessed. You fawned over a man you thought was important." He gestured to Slade. "A man who, I assure you, will be in court by morning." You abused your staff." He nodded at Chloe, who was watching from the host stand, and then at Bella. "And you victimized a vulnerable customer, who just so happens to be my child." "Mr. Rhodes, please!" Harrison was openly weeping now, his gel-slicked hair coming undone. My job, my house. I have a family." "And this young woman," Alistair said, his voice rising for the first time, "this waitress, has a family. She has a brother, Marco, who is sick. She works 2 jobs, is drowning in medical debt, and I would wager she hasn't slept in a week." Bella gasped. How could he know that? Alistair tapped his ear. A tiny, almost invisible wireless earpiece was tucked inside. "I've been on a conference call for the last 45 minutes, Mr. Harrison. Muted, of course. My team is very efficient. When my daughter was late, I had them look into this restaurant. When you started your performance, I had them look into you. And then, when Ms. Rossi here," he smiled at Bella, "stepped in, I had them look into her." He looked back at Harrison. "Guess what my team found, Mr. Harrison?" Harrison just shook his head, snot and tears running down his face. "They found the skimming, the voided cash checks, the spoiled inventory that you've been selling out the back door to your cousin's catering company. They found, I'd say, about $80,000 in theft over the last 6 months alone." Harrison didn't just go pale, he went transparent. Alistair nodded to Frank. "Frank, if you would." Frank, who looked immensely relieved to be on the side of the angels, finally stepped forward. "Mr. Harrison, I need you to come with me." But... "Oh," Alistair added, as if an afterthought. "The 2 gentlemen in suits who just came in the front door? They aren't here for dinner. They're with the city police department. They are very, very interested in your accounting practices." As if on cue, 2 uniformed officers, followed by 2 plainclothes detectives, walked into the restaurant. They bypassed Alistair and headed straight for the now catatonic Mr. Harrison. "Daniel Harrison?" one of the detectives said. Harrison just made a small, choking sound. "You're under arrest." As the officers cuffed him and read him his rights, the entire restaurant was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Mr. Harrison, the petty tyrant of the Serafina, was led away, his illusions of power dissolving with every step. The departure of Mr. Harrison, flanked by police officers, left a vacuum in the room. The air was thick with shock. Diners stared, frozen. Staff peeked out from the kitchen, their faces a mixture of terror and dawning, unbelievable glee. Alistair Rhodes sighed, the billionaire persona fading, replaced once again by a tired father. He ran a hand over his face. "Well," he said to the room at large, "I do apologize for the floor show. Not quite what the Serafina advertises." A nervous laugh rippled through the crowd. Mr. Slade, seeing his opportunity, tried to slink out of his chair. "Not so fast, Mr. Slade," Alistair said, not even turning around. "My personal security." He gestured to 2 men who had been sitting at the bar, looking like average businessmen, who now stood up. "We'll escort you to a quieter room. We have some things to discuss before the detectives are done with Mr. Harrison." Slade's face, if possible, went even paler. He was led away without a word. Alistair finally turned his full attention to the 2 women who were still standing in the middle of the chaos. His daughter, Lily, had finally stopped shaking. Her face was tear-streaked and red, but her breathing was even. She was looking at Bella with a kind of awestruck reverence. Thank you," Lily whispered, her stutter almost gone, her voice soft with sincerity. He grabbed me. No one has ever stood up for me like that." "Hey," Bella said, her own voice thick. She gave Lily a watery smile. "We anxious girls got to stick together, right?" Lily let out a small, wet laugh, and, in a move that surprised Bella, launched herself forward and wrapped her arms around Bella's waist in a tight hug. "Thank you." Bella, stunned, hugged her back. She was hugging a billionaire's daughter, in the middle of a restaurant, after getting her boss arrested. Her life had officially become a soap opera. Alistair Rhodes watched the exchange, and for the first time that night, his face was not a mask of observation or anger, but of genuine, unadulterated warmth. The man who could move markets and topple executives looked at his daughter and the waitress who had protected her, and he smiled. "Ms. Rossi," he said, his voice rumbling with emotion. "Bella, words are insufficient." Bella finally let go of Lily, wiping her own eyes on her apron. "Mr. Rhodes." "Sir, I had no idea. I couldn't let him talk to her like that. I have a brother, Marco. He has episodes. I know the signs." "You do more than know the signs, Bella," Alistair said. "You know the cure. It's not medicine. It's name 5 things you can see. It's breathe with me. It's I'm not going anywhere." He looked at his daughter. "I have spent. You cannot imagine the money I have spent. The best therapists, the best schools, the best doctors, all trying to give her tools. And you, in 30 seconds with your job on the line, gave her more peace than a team of specialists has in 5 years." Bella was floored. I just did what was right." "No," Alistair said, his voice firm. "You did what was hard. Right is easy to know. Hard is what you do when right costs you everything. You were willing to lose your job, a job you desperately need, for my daughter. A complete stranger." He paused, a new, calculating look coming over his face. The billionaire was back, but his focus was now entirely on Bella. "Everyone," he said, suddenly raising his voice to the stunned room. "Diners, staff, my apologies truly. Your evening has been interrupted." He clapped his hands together. "Rico!" he called toward the kitchen. Chef Rico poked his head out, his chef's hat stained with sweat. "Yes, sir?" "Mr. Rhodes? Your manager has been unavoidably detained for, let's say, the next 10 to 15 years, which means, as of this moment, this restaurant is closed for a private event." A murmur went through the room. "However," Alistair continued, "all your meals are, of course, on the house. In fact, please, order dessert, order champagne, order whatever you'd like. The kitchen is yours. My team will be around to take your contact information, as I'd like to personally invite all of you back for a proper opening night." He then turned to the staff, who were huddled by the server's station. "As for you," he said, his voice warm, "you all just witnessed a hostile takeover. Effective immediately, you all have a new boss, me. And your first act as my new employees is to join our guests. Take off your aprons, sit down, have the meal you've been serving all night. Your pay for tonight is, let's call it, quadrupled." There was a stunned silence, then a burst of ecstatic, disbelieving applause. Chloe, the hostess, burst into tears of relief. "But Bella," Alistair said, his voice dropping again, "I need a word with you, and Lily, in private." He gestured toward the small, private dining room that Harrison had always kept reserved for VIPs. "After you," he said. Bella, her legs feeling like jelly, untied her apron. She had a feeling her life was never, ever going to be the same. The private dining room was paneled in dark, expensive-looking wood. A single unlit chandelier hung over a long mahogany table. It was silent, a stark contrast to the suddenly jubilant dining room outside, where the staff and guests were now mingling, a bizarre, instant party. Alistair closed the door, shutting out the noise. He, Lily, and Bella stood in the quiet. "Please," Alistair said, gesturing to the chairs. "Sit. You've been on your feet all night." Bella sat, her muscles screaming in protest. Lily sat next to her, close, as if for protection. Alistair remained standing, pacing the end of the table. "I am a man of direct action, Bella," he began. "I don't like wasting time. I like solving problems, and tonight I saw several." He stopped pacing and looked at her. "Problem 1. Mr. Harrison, a cancerous employee who was stealing from me and abusing his team. He's been excised," he continued. "Problem 2. Mr. Slade, a fraudulent business associate who was trying to swindle my company. He is currently being renegotiated with by my security until the detectives are ready for him." He paused. "Problem 3. My daughter, Lily. She has a condition. The world is too loud, too fast, too cruel for her sometimes. I can't change the world. But I can. I must. Find people who make it softer for her." He looked at Lily, who blushed. "Dad, stop. You're being a lot." "I am a lot." "Yes," Alistair chuckled, the first real, light sound Bella had heard from him. "But I'm also right," he turned back to Bella. "Which brings me to problem 4. You." Bella's heart sank. "Problem. You are, if you'll forgive my language, a thoroughbred racehorse pulling a plough," Alistair said. "You are brilliant, empathetic, and you have a core of steel, and you are wasting your time here, slinging mediocre pasta to ungrateful people, terrified of a man like Daniel Harrison. Sir, This job," he continued, "is beneath you. Your real problem isn't your job. It's your brother, Marco." Bella's breath hitched. You have no right to." "You're right," he said instantly, holding up a hand. "I apologize. That was indelicate. My team, they are very thorough. I know about the CF. I know about the new drug trial, the one your insurance refuses to cover. I know about the 2 a.m. runs to the emergency room. I know you're considering selling your car, your last real asset, to cover the next 3 months of medication." Bella was crying now, silently. The tears she'd held back all night, all week, all year. The tears of sheer, bone-deep exhaustion and fear. I don't know what you want from me," she whispered. Alistair knelt. He was a billionaire, one of the most powerful men in the world, and he knelt on the expensive rug in front of a waitress. "I don't want anything from you, Bella. I want to give you something. Because you gave me something tonight. You gave me back my daughter's safety. You showed her that not all strangers are cruel. You showed me that there is still decency in the world, even when it costs." He stood up. "So, this is what's going to happen. This is the what he did next part, I suppose." Bella and Lily both watched him, captivated. "First," he said, pulling out his phone. "As of right now, 8:17 p.m., a black car from my personal service is on its way to your apartment. It is going to pick up you and Marco." "What?" "It is going to take you to the airport. My private jet is being fueled. It will fly you both to the world's leading cystic fibrosis treatment center. I just spoke to the director, Dr. Aris. He's a friend. He is clearing his schedule. Marco is being admitted tonight under Dr. Aris's personal care. All expenses, for the full duration of his treatment, for the rest of his life, will be handled by the Rhodes Family Foundation." Bella stopped crying. She just stopped breathing. It was too much. The words didn't make sense. That's impossible." "It's done," Alistair said simply. "That is the easy part." "The easy part?" "Yes. Now for the hard part. I need you to work for me." "Work for you? As a waitress?" Alistair laughed. "God, no. Bella, I told you, you're a racehorse. I am not a good man. I am a rich man. I am a pragmatic man. I see assets. And you are an asset." He leaned forward. "I own 67 hotels. I own 142 restaurants across 3 continents. I have thousands of employees just like you, managed by hundreds of men just like Harrison, and it's inefficient. It's unkind, and it's costing me money. I don't understand." "I am creating a new position," Alistair said, his eyes blazing with a new energy. "Director of Compassionate Service for Roads Industries, Hospitality. I want you to take what you did tonight, that magic, that empathy and strength, and I want you to teach it. I want you to fly around the world, on my jet, of course, and I want you to tear down the old training manuals. I want you to retrain every manager, every host, every server. I want you to create a new standard of service, one based on what you did tonight. Empathy first, humanity always. You want me to do that?" Bella was dizzy. "I'm offering you a starting salary of $400,000 a year, a full benefits package, and a housing allowance in whatever city you choose. You will report directly to me. Your first task, fire every single manager who reminds you of Daniel Harrison." This was what stunned everyone, or it was what was about to stun everyone as soon as she walked out of this room. It was what was stunning her. It wasn't just a job. It wasn't just paying off her debt. It was a new life. It was a kingdom. It was a rescue. I. Bella looked at Lily. Lily was smiling, her eyes bright. Do it, Bella. He needs you. We need you." Bella looked at Alistair, the billionaire, the father, her new boss. She took a deep breath. The weight that had been on her chest her entire life, the fear for Marco, the ache in her feet, it was just gone. She stood up. "Okay," Bella said, her voice clear and strong. "When do I start?" Alistair Rhodes smiled. "You already have. Now let's go. We have a flight to catch. You're going to meet your brother." When Alistair opened the private dining room door, the celebration in the main room quieted. Everyone turned. They saw Alistair Rhodes, the myth, the billionaire. They saw his daughter, Lily, no longer looking like a terrified girl, but like, well, a billionaire's daughter, smiling and confident. And they saw Bella Rossi, their Bella, the one who was always pulling doubles, her eyes red with exhaustion. But she was different. She wasn't wearing her apron. She was standing tall, her shoulders back. The Serafina smile was gone, replaced by a real one, a smile of such profound relief and joy that it lit up the entire room. "Rico," Alistair called out. "Congratulations. You're the new head chef of my entire East Coast restaurant division. We'll talk details Monday." Rico dropped a champagne flute. "Si, jefe." "Chloe," Alistair said, pointing to the hostess. "You're the new manager of the Serafina. You'll work with Ms. Rossi here to restaff and relaunch. We're closing for a month for renovations." Chloe just gaped, her hands over her mouth. Then Alistair turned to the whole room. "Thank you all for coming. As I said, a new beginning, and it's all thanks to this woman." He put a hand on Bella's shoulder. "Ms. Bella Rossi, my new director of compassionate service. She is the new standard. She taught me, my daughter, and all of you what true service looks like. It's not bowing to the rich. It's protecting the vulnerable." The room exploded. The staff, her work family, swarmed her. They were cheering, crying, and hugging her. They weren't just happy for her, they were happy for them. A world where a Bella could win, where a Harrison could lose, was a world that made sense again. Bella, laughing through her tears, saw Alistair and Lily slipping out the front door. Alistair paused and looked back at her over the heads of the celebrating crowd. He tapped his watch and pointed. Time to go. Bella nodded, her heart so full she thought it might burst. She ran to the back, grabbed her worn coat and her purse, the one with the picture of Marco tucked inside. She walked out of the Serafina for the last time, not as a waitress, but as an executive. Outside, the cool night air felt different, cleaner. A sleek, black Maybach was idling at the curb. Lily was in the back seat, and she rolled down the window, waving. "Come on, Bella. Well, we're going to be late." Bella Rossi got in the car. As it pulled away, she looked back at the restaurant, a place of so much pain and fear. And then she looked forward at the man and the young woman who had, in one single chaotic night, changed her life. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was, for the first time, about to live. And she was going to teach the world how to be kind. And so, Bella's life, and her brother Marco's, was saved. Not by a miracle, but by an act of courage. She was willing to lose everything for what was right, and in the end, she gained a new world. Her story is a powerful reminder that you never know who is watching. The person you dismiss could be the one holding the keys, and the person you help, the person you defend when no one else will, could be the one who saves you right back. True strength isn't about how much power you have, like Mr. Harrison. It's about your character in moments of pressure. Bella had character. Alistair had power, and together they created justice. What did you think of Bella's bravery? What would you have done in her shoes? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to see it, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories of justice, karma, and the underdog winning the day. We'll see you in the next video.